Hello, everybody. Welcome into the NBA Front Office Show. Lots going on, as always, around the league for us to dive into. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe over on the YouTube channel, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Trevor Lane, joined by Keith Smith. Keith, I guess, plenty of stuff for us to talk about here, but the first thing, oh my God, the 76ers, RIP. We're done. Right? Like this is it. The 76ers got crushed last night by the Chicago Bulls. It is open tanking season now in Philadelphia, maybe surgery coming for Joel Embiid. The Sixers season is over right now, right?
It better be. I mean, we're recording this later for us. It's almost 5:00 on Tuesday. We still don't have any update on Joel Embiid other than he missed last night's game and Nick Nurse, I'm going to paraphrase, but he basically said, no, I wouldn't say for sure he's done for the season. Like, that seems like everybody's just kind of dancing around it. And it's like,
they just don't want to be the one to say it.
Exactly. Let's wait for the official word to come down, right, and we'll get there. But yeah, I mean, they didn't get beat by the Bulls last night.
Oh my God. It was so bad.
Trampled, run over, destroyed. They were down by 50 at one point in the game.
Trampled is the right word when they're playing the Bulls.
Yeah, I thought that was well done.
That was well done.
Yeah, what's that? Pamplona, right? Isn't that where that?
I believe so. So.
So this is a team you're ostensibly fighting for the 10th seed. You're trying to catch, and you lose by 50 to the Bulls, who aren't very good. Like, you're done. Like, your season's over. You're just not. You're not going to get there. And then Paul George after is like, we don't have the habits of winners and we don't really seem to want it. And all the things that he said, it just, none of this is good. I tweeted last night, good night, Sixers. See you next season, which most Sixer fans are like, God, I hope so. Like, yeah, let's just bottom this out. One responded with nice analysis, Fat Pig, which was a little odd. So then I was like, I mean, if you need to vent, it's fine, right? You can vent, take it out on me. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. I'm not going to be upset. So yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, people are they're so kind on the internet all the time, especially to strangers they've never met. But like, yeah, let's try to get down to the 5th pick, if you can. Schedule is not exactly challenging the rest of the way, but the way you're playing it, probably you can lose plenty. Toronto's got I think they have maybe the easiest schedule the rest of the way. Maybe they'll win a couple more and you can move past them. And, and then you get in that 5th spot and you feel pretty comfortable about keeping your pick. And, that's really where you need to be. Yep. You just no more Joel Embiid. Pull Paul George out. He's injured. You shouldn't get in trouble. He's talked openly about taking painkillers to play. And let's just, look forward to next season.
Yeah, it's all you can do. And it's unfortunate. It's the 76ers kind of in the same boat as the Pelicans. I mean, obviously very different situations, but still, sure, season effectively a race due to injuries. The 76ers haven't been good at any particular point, but it's all you can do. And it's unfortunate and it's terrible when your team goes through it. And it's not fun, but I'll tell you what, if New Orleans and Philly winds up 1-2 in the draft or something like that, that's going to take a lot of the sting off, given the talent that's coming up in this year's draft class. So all is not lost.
The Wizards 76ers,
like, there's a silver lining.
We're actually bad. Like, why are you taking the first pick away?
Are the Wizards like so bad though that the basketball gods are be like, nah, you guys are too bad. We can't reward this.
See, I think they might get rewarded in the sense of like, all right, you did it the right way. You played your kids. Like you're just bad. You're naturally a bad team. Like you weren't trying to be this bad. It just, this is where you're at. And in the thing, but yeah, that's been the nice thing. None of the teams, if you look at all of them, I would say the one who's maybe most egregiously tanked some games is Utah, because they have clearly had games where it's been like, oh, we're not going to play this guy this game. And then the guy plays the next one. Then he's out the one after that. And it's like, all right, which I'm not criticizing him at all. I have no issue with it. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. It's the right strategy. They're just the only ones who are pretty openly tanking. New Orleans had injuries. Philly had injuries. Toronto, Charlotte, and Washington just aren't good. Right. So, there you are with that. I will say this with Philly too, because people were like, well, do you shut Maxey down then too? And my thing was like, I would play Tyrese Maxey and I would just put him in a bunch of spots where it's, hey, we want you to run 10 pick and pops a game. I want
Yeah.
you to run out of straight ISOs. I want to get you switched against bigs and see what you do. I want you to play without a screen, play straight up and see what that looks like. Try a bunch of different stuff. Now, if he wakes up in the morning, he's got the sniffles, you're out. Don't even come to the facility. Stay home. If he's like, my ankle's a little, I don't even let him finish the sentence. You're out. Like, don't play him. And I would certainly tell Nick Nurse, he does not play more than 30 minutes. Like,
yeah.
You put a strict restriction on him, and if you can't abide by that, then guess what? I guess we're looking for a new coach too, and just you move forward with play a bunch of the kids, see what it looks like, and just continue to lose games the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, it can be. I had a slightly less than comfortable night's sleep last night. Okay, you're out. That's it.
Yeah.
Pull the plug. You're out for tonight's game. I agree with you. I think that's the way you handle this. With Maxey, you use it as practice in games.
Yep.
And you look ahead and start getting the prayers in early, because oh boy, when those ping pong balls start bouncing, there's a lot riding on them for Philly, for the Thunder.
And that's why you want to get to 5, right? Because then if one team jumps, you didn't move back and lose the pick, because that's what it's all about. You have to be 6 or higher to keep it. Can't be 5th if you finish 6. You can't jump up to 5th. You could jump up to 1, 2, 3, or 4. Those are the picks decided by the lottery. But yeah, you really want to be in that spot. I had somebody say this to me too when I suggested this. This was a couple days ago, and I was like, Embiid should not play another minute this season. And it was, this is the problem with the NBA. This team could still make the playoffs. The other sports don't do this. They do, right? Like, I mean, like in my thing was, could they make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe.
In theory, they could be the 10th seed, win 2, because they're not catching Miami, right? Like they're 6.5 games behind the Heat now. And this is a Heat team that's not exactly, no pun intended, setting the world on fire here. So they're far enough behind them that they're not catching them. So, all right. So you're the 10th seed, you win 2 in a row in the play-in tournament on the road, and then you get to play Cleveland in the first round. You're not beating them. And then what? So you did all that to extend your season by 2 weeks?
You're getting swept.
The point. Yeah, and maybe you take a game off them, but and that's where I don't love the whole NFL teams would never shut guys down. I literally watched the team I root for start shutting guys down.
Yeah,
because
NFL shut guys down.
They shut guys down when their season's over. Philly's season is functionally over. I don't care what the math says. There's nothing to play for here that makes sense for them. Now, in fairness, there's nothing to play for the Nets or Bulls either. But they're doing whatever it is they're doing.
Somebody's got to take that spot.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's going to back into that spot, and ultimately at the end of the day, they'll be like, cool, we lose in the first round of the play-in tournament. It's over, and we go home. We played one extra game, but I just, the whole thing with Philly, why would you quit on what could be a playoff season? They're not an up and coming team where it's like we talked about
get the experience
with the Pistons. Before the Pistons, now it looks like they're going to be, maybe the 6th seed. Before they were playing that well, we were like, yeah, get the experience of playing meaningful games, getting into the playoffs. Even if you get knocked out, it is what it is. Now, they've gone to a whole different level with that, but Philly's not there. So if you lose, and that is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go here. And I love, Keith, it is maybe my favorite thing that we've done on our show. I am so glad that we get to use this again.
Fire.
The Kevin Cannon.
Oh,
and I think we're going to get to use the Kevin Cannon drop a lot between now and whenever he's ultimately traded. I do think he's going to get traded.
4 solid months at Kevin Cannon.
I love it.
I
love it. This is so exciting. But the Wolves, they worked to try to trade for Kevin Durant. As the Suns, their efforts to land Jimmy Butler became less and less likely. They pivoted to start to look to potentially trade Kevin Durant, and the Wolves were one of the teams that was interested, particularly as things fell apart when Durant made it known he did not want to be a Golden State Warrior. Interesting pivot from Minnesota, particularly a team that just made a move in trading Karl Anthony Towns to kind of clear up their future books a little bit, to go try to make a move to land a guy like Kevin Durant. But this is a Wolves side that got a big win last night against OKC and felt like maybe they get it. Now, I don't know if the Wolves get back into the mix for Kevin Durant this summer or not. I think there's going to be a number of teams in the mix for him.
Yeah.
But interesting that the Wolves were, trying to act opportunistically and thinking, well, maybe if the Suns really are selling here, maybe we can get them at a little bit of a bargain.
Yeah, I mean, when Jake Fisher put this out, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
When he put this out there, I had a lot of people like, how would this have even worked? The Wolves are over the second apron, the Suns, they can't really trade with each other. And Jake did a good job of explaining in the piece. Like, I'm very much paraphrasing what Jake wrote, but it was like, this was nowhere near close to done. And it wasn't even like it was more the Wolves were going to work to try to make it happen if they could get agreement from the Phoenix side. And that was like, they were going to have to get under the second apron. We saw the Bucks do it. It is possible. There were ways you could have pulled it off. My guess is probably would have more heavily involved the Pistons than what the Pistons did in other trades to make it happen. But that was what the plan would have been, let's get off some salary here. It probably would have meant Julius Randle, maybe Jaden McDaniels. Like, you would have been really trying to get rid. It would have been based. Gobert couldn't be traded, I don't think, or he might have been like right before. I can't really remember with that one now, but it wouldn't have been Anthony Edwards and Gobert. They were both going to be there. So you'd have just been in a spot where it's like, all right, like, we got to work to get off money. And if you can get Kevin Durant, you could find a way. I mean, lots of things happened this trade deadline where I was like, how would that be possible? That happened, and because teams found a way. But yeah, I mean, interesting. And I think this means they do make another run at them. I think, you make another run at them this summer, because this summer it'll be a little easier to move money around and try, see if you can go get them, see if there's something that really makes sense. Because the other thing people keep saying, well, Julius Randle's going to opt into his final year, and that's going to mess everything up, but it'll be an expiring contract. You could ask the Nets, who are going to be sitting on 50 to 70 million in cap space, hey, if we send over one of our young guys, Terrence Shannon, with Julius Randle as kind of getting you to entice you to take him on, can you eat the last year of his contract? Sure. 1 year. Yeah. What else are we doing with our cap space? Like, fine for us. Like, let's go. And
sure.
And that's just one idea. There's a bunch of other ways you could make this happen. So I think they'll get involved again, and that could be fun. I mean,
new ownership group too, maybe looking to make a splash.
Yeah. Which, if you trade for KD, that's fine. If you trade for KD and then just hand him a max extension, it gets a little okay. But just be careful, with that. But
sure,
sure. Why not? I mean, KD, Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert. That's a pretty good foundation to start with.
It could be a little bit ironic. Two Kevin Durant trades consecutively featuring a new ownership group trying to make a splash.
Yeah, right.
Getting KD. But you've got a Wolves side that, I mean, obviously a lot of teams could benefit from Kevin Durant. He doesn't fit their timeline necessarily in terms of Anthony Edwards, but you know what? He's Kevin Durant, and he's still absolutely fantastic. So if you could figure out a way to get him, great. I don't think they should go crazy trying to acquire him, but I think that if they can get him, fantastic. We'll see what they can do in terms of moving underneath operating underneath that second tier apron. We do know they want to keep Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Alexander-Walker is going to be a free agent this summer. Naz Reid, I would assume, is going to opt out. Now, this is a weird situation, though, because there's not really cap space out there.
But that 15 million is just above the mid-level. So right. I think you definitely opt out. Knowing
because someone at the worst, someone would give him the mid-level. I mean, 100%. In a heartbeat.
Yeah. That's why, when we talk about Randle, he's not making back 31 million. Like, that's not going to be a thing. Naz Reid, he might have to take a slight pay cut and that's if worse came to worse. You'd probably be able to get, 20 million in a sign-in trade somewhere.
Yeah.
That could be a thing, for a minute. And who knows? I mean, the Suns are still very likely to be very expensive, but if they could find a way to get a full contract themselves, maybe they'd be in a position where they could open up different things in a Kevin Durant trade, where it could be, we can actually do something with Naz Reid because we got off of Bradley Beal's contract because we found a spot he was willing to go to or something, with that. So there's options. Alexander Walker is an interesting one. I wrote about this on the basketball bulletin twice in the last week or so. Jalen Clark, who it's funny, he's not even on the screen because he's a two-way player. He's a second year of a two-way. He has been playing and actually starting right now for the Wolves, which tells me they're probably going to convert him at some point here before the end of the season into their open roster spot. I think between him, Terrence Shannon, and the emergence of Rob Dillingham, this is all right, we don't need to get stupid with Nickeil Alexander-Walker's contract this summer. Somebody starts coming in with
like 20 million or something.
If it was that much, I'd be like, see you later. But yeah, right. If it comes in, somebody starts, hey, we'll give them the mid-level. Thanks, man, for all you did. Good luck. Enjoy your new contract, and off you go, and you move forward. So but sure, they'd like to keep him. I totally get that. Why wouldn't you want to keep him? He's a nice defensive player. It's kind of a good mix with those guys. One other thing I wanted to say, too, to go back, because you mentioned Kevin Durant doesn't really match Anthony Edwards' timeline. I'm not worried about that if I'm Minnesota, because Anthony Edwards is here. I would like the idea of, I've got Anthony Edwards for the next 5 years at least, like through his 20s. Let's start taking advantage of it today with Kevin Durant if we can, because he's already that good. No, again, don't get stupid. But
sure.
The nice thing is they don't really have the ability to get stupid in the trade because they already traded everything for Rudy Gobert a couple of years. You do have, I guess, a couple picks from the Towns trade, but those are, nothing great there. So, yeah, but I would be okay with adding an older player just because Edwards is already so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd be okay with it as well. The one thing that would be interesting is that you're kind of like Anthony Edwards, I think, can be a legitimately good defensive player. But he does rely on the pull-up three ball a lot as part of his game right now. And I wonder how that meshes with KD. I'm not saying it wouldn't mesh, just KD also kind of has that more long-range game to him. He's got more of the mid-range as well. And Anthony Edwards certainly athletic enough to get to the rim and explode and do all of that. And I do think that a big three of theoretically KD and Gobert fits much better than KD, Booker, and Beal, just because of Gobert's defensive abilities and rebounding abilities and all of that. So I'm not saying it's a bad fit, just a little bit interesting in terms of where I would see both those guys operate on the court.
Yeah, there's definitely some truth to that too. I would really want to do my best if this was my sequence for the Wolves to keep Jaden McDaniels, just because you need his defense, that big wing defender. In your lineup. I don't know that they'll be able to pull that off because you're going to have to give up something for KD and you're going to have to clear money in another deal. So that means either Randall moves in one or McDaniels in the other. You're not going to have all of them. May even need to move to DiVincenzo, which then that makes it more important that one of these young guys really emerges. But, the idea with getting Dillingham and trading into that draft pick was we can't add prime talent without getting creative and being a little aggressive with it. And I think getting Dillingham and then really seeing all right, this guy can be our point guard of the future. He's not ready yet, but by the time Mike Conley's done after next season, he should be there. Shannon playing so well, and then Jalen Clark. Now all of a sudden we have that cost-controlled younger talent that allows us to rebuild the top end of the roster a little bit, which is a good place to be in.
All right, let's jump over here. This was from Dave McMenamin's report earlier today. Mentioned that a source close to Luka Doncic said, look, the stuff that's come out of Dallas since the trade about his weight, conditioning, things of that nature has not gone unnoticed, essentially, is the message that was being presented by Luka, that even though he's taken the high road publicly, that they have the beast has been awakened in Luka. I'm paraphrasing there, but the line was similar to that. The beast has been awakened in Luka, and it's something that clearly he wasn't super thrilled with. Now, the Mavs have been kind of on their heels. I think they were legitimately, I think they knew the trade was not going to be popular. I don't think they knew it was going to be like this. Yeah. I don't think they knew it was going to be this bad. And so I think there was kind of a feeling of, well, we got to, push back against it. Well, Luka's not really what you think he is because of X, Y, and Z and that kind of stuff. And I think actually that backfired, and it only made Mavs fans more upset and more distance from the front office. But nonetheless, word got to Luca clearly, and it bothered him. So we'll see if we get, is it revenge game narrative Luca tonight when the Lakers play the Mavs? We'll see how all of that plays out, but Luka does seem like the kind of guy that would take something like this personally and use it as motivation.
100%. I mean, he was barking at the Denver fans. In the one was a guy, I don't know if you saw it. The one guy was wearing a Luka jersey. It was like, I'm like cheering you on. Like he just, I mean, this is a lot of guys are like this. And then there was the one guy calling him fat boy. And it's like, yeah, okay. If Luka Doncic is one, I don't even care if he actually was legitimately fat. If he's this good, what difference does it make? Unless it's like it starts to turn into a Shaq territory where it's like, hey, he's so fat that like his career's not going to go where we want it to go when he's 10, 11, 12 years in. Like, I don't care if Luka is fat. Like, he's awesome. So what difference does it make? And he's also not fat. So that's the other thing that doesn't, is just stupid and silly about the whole thing. I think Luka is a guy who both gains and sheds weight very easily. I think he puts on weight, and then I think he's just one of those people who, a couple weeks later, he can shed 10 pounds and and he's fine. But again, none of that really matters. I am so excited. Here's how excited I am. I'm staying up tonight to watch, which is, I don't always do that. But I'm going to stay up because I want to see what he does. Like, I just want to see. And I can't wait. The Hoop Collective talked a lot about this. Is Nico Harrison going to be down?
I saw that. I heard that.
Luka can find him. And if Luka can find him, like, he's probably going to look at him after every play.
Oh, yeah.
That he makes. And, every once in a while, these revenge games go a little sideways. Kyrie Irving had a couple in Boston where, he was pressing so hard to try to show up the Celtics and their fans and missed a bunch of shots and didn't go well. But more often than not, when you're at the level of, this type of superstar, it tends to go, really, really well. And I'm sure even if the Mavs guys love him, there's still going to be an element of, hey, let's try to, I mean, you want to win anyway, but like, let's try to prove we're okay without him. So it should be a really fun environment tonight. It's going to be way better when it's his first game in Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be just like,
that's going to be crazy.
Television. Like, yeah, it's going to be incredible. But yeah, I'm excited for this one tonight.
Yeah, I definitely am as well. Josh Hart got fined for flopping a Keith. I mean, normally this is just kind of a whatever type thing, but I put this in there simply for this. Why does this not happen more often?
Yeah.
Like, why do we not see more flopping fines? No, I did not.
So it was in the Sunday afternoon game. They were in transition, and Drew Holiday kind of did one of those where he like grabbed him because Drew Holiday was trying to run around him in transition. And Josh Hart acted like Drew Holiday hit him with like Black Panther's like suit explosion after he absorbed all the energy. Because he went flying in the air. He, flipped onto his side, then ran to Tony Brothers and was like, you needed to review it. And he got Tony Brothers to review it because I don't think Brothers saw what happened until he saw him go flying. When Tony Brothers reviewed it, they put the camera on them. Yeah. He looked so disgusted that like he had to go review it. He just looked absolutely like you played a trick on me and I should throw you out of the game for this. But it was So I mean, well earned. And Josh Hart knew it too, because did you hear what he said after?
No.
He said, I guess no Oscar for me. Clearly he knew it. But yes, there should be we need to get back to technical fouls for flopping, and we need to get back to more fines for it, because we're at the time of the year where guys are starting to pull out all the tricks. The things they weren't necessarily doing in October and November, because sometimes flopping means you're having to throw yourself on the ground. Yeah. We're starting to see all of it come out because guys are getting playoff ready for their nonsense. The one that kills me more than the straight flop to the ground, the head snap back.
Oh,
when there's the slightest bit of contact. Yep. Like every good foul drawer does it in the league. Like almost every good one does it. There's a couple that don't, right? And then people are like, because they're an ethical hooper. But like, yeah, man, it just that one drives me nuts, because then it looks bad. Then you watch, it's like you did some of them legit. You didn't get touched.
Well, on these guys, when you're driving, right, you're dribbling. how often does that kind of contact really snap your head back like that? Like, why would like that's not? I don't know. It is funny when you see guys. Pascal Siakam is an all-time great head flailer. James Harden is another one where, I mean, just
Jalen Brunson is
Jalen Brunson. Sure. Throw the head back. Oh man. That would,
since he came in the league. Yeah.
My pet peeve, it's the jump shooters that refuse to land on their feet.
Yeah.
That's my pet peeve. The guys who are very clearly falling down before anyone's even near them. Jay Crowder, one of the worst about it. Oh my God! It's been a. I don't know if he can land on his feet anymore. I think he practices falling down on his jumpers, like just in warmups. He falls down. Those ones drive me crazy.
Jason Tatum does a decent amount. He has a little bit of a weird shooting motion, but there's times when it's like, dude, what are you doing? Because then more often than not, you don't get the call, and then it leads to a run out the other way.
Right, because you're on the ground.
You weren't even remotely in the play. My favorite is when the guy does it, falls down, and then he starts pointing, like, get back. And it's like, why don't you just stay on your feet? Like, you're falling down for
me. Get back, you get back. Come on, man.
Yeah, you're pointing at everybody there. Like, it's gotten stupid with a lot of these. So, and it makes it worse for the guys who are like legit, like good at drawing a foul. Like, I always say with LeBron, rarely is LeBron drawing a foul where it's like he wasn't actually fouled. Now, like, like he goes in now.
Oh, he's a reputation as being such a flopper, and I'm like, I haven't really seen. And obviously, I'm super biased, and so I try to keep that in mind and everything. But man,
it's not like that, or like Giannis, right? Like Giannis doesn't flop. Now, you could argue Giannis, not so much LeBron at this point in his career, but like Heat and Cavs LeBron, like how many of those should have been offensive fouls on you? Because like you just freight trained through a guy who had no chance. It's like, like a small child was crossing the tracks and you just ran them down. Like what, what are we doing here? But like, that's that. But I that's where it you watch a guy, these are the ones that really get you in the playoffs, right? Because now it's like, you didn't see him and then you'll see him again a month later. And it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. When it's like, I'm going to watch this every other night for 2 weeks straight. Like you start to get like tense and aggravated before it even starts.
Yeah.
And that's maybe that's my Celtics bias coming out because of all the Embiid and Giannis playoff series where it's like, oh God, I got to watch, 1,000 fouls here. That's why I think the Celtics started with Giannis. It's like, you know what, then fine. We're just going to give it as good as we get it. If we're going to foul you, we're going to hit you. Like, we're going to really put you on the floor. And, it kind of is what it is at this point. But yeah, man, the Josh Hart one was hilarious. Like, if you have a chance to see it, it was just, I mean, like, this was like one of those, like, what are you doing? Marcus Smart would have been like, that's gross. Like, he would have been
Marcus Smart. SGA's gotten pretty bad about it too.
Yeah. Did you see the thing that Chris Finch said last night?
Yep.
But did you see, I think it was Jared Dubin put it together. They are actually, so he said they never get called for fouls and they get fouled all the time.
It's the opposite.
28th in free throw rate for themselves and 28th in fouls against.
Yep.
So like, I don't know that really, and it didn't even hold water in that game. They fouled way more than the Wolves. Now,
I talked about this a little bit on the basketball bulletin, and I hypothetical, how much of that might be setting up for in case we see them in the playoffs, right? Already kind of getting that, like, SGA gets all the calls. Oh, the Thunder get away with a lot. Like, I wonder if that's just kind of just Chris Finch knows enough. He's planting that seed, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm with you because he knows we might be the 8th seed here with just the way the West is playing out. And if we are, let's, put that in the back of their minds. I mean, that's the, that was the Phil Jackson mastered that, technique better than just about anybody. And it is, true. And I do think there is something to, like, I go back, the Celtics under Doc Rivers, they fouled a ton. Like like the year they beat the Lakers in the finals and then lost to them the next year. Or 2 years later.
2 years later.
That Celtics group was really, really good defensively, part of it was they fouled so much that eventually you do the Pat Riley with the Knicks strategy. They're not going to call them all. Like they're just keep hitting guys. They will not call every foul.
Yeah.
And that was Doc was like, all right, Perkins and Rondo were like two of the handsiest guys in the league. And constantly, fouling guys that just weren't called because eventually like they're like, all right, yeah, we can't call every single foul.
You think that's what OKC is doing?
Maybe there is something to that. I think they foul a lot because they're super aggressive.
They are, especially on the perimeter.
Exactly. That's it. They play with their hands a lot. They get up into the opponents. They really are very physical. So I think that's why they foul so much. But I just thought that was interesting that, Chris Finch says it. And then it's, like immediately it's refuted with, let's look at the actual stats here.
I went and looked at it, and I had a lot of people say, oh, but it's not. But it's not so much how many times you get called for fouls. How many fouls did you get away with? Even if you are 30th in the NBA in fouls called against, but you only get called on 20% of your fouls and you're just hacking all the time. And that's true, but it's also not like the Thunder are fouling all the time and they're like third in the NBA in fouls called against or something like that. They are getting called for a lot of fouls. SGA in particular, I think part of it is he's just so slight. It's easy for and look, he does do some foul grifting and all that. That definitely happens. But
all of the best scorers,
right? Yeah. But it's also like when he gets fouled because he's under 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to notice it when he gets fouled. Like it's going to stand out.
It's the same thing with Trae Young and Jalen Brunson, right? They contact that LeBron brushes off and is like, "Did I get touched?" Like he's gonna throw those guys off their shot, right? Like that's just the reality of it.
That's
so
yeah,
and I think with SGA too, he's so good at those moves where it's like he like slithers and steps through a gap that doesn't seem like it should be there, and then you're like, how did he get through? And then your reaction is, all right, well we got to foul him because he's gonna get a ball up. That I will say, I loved that he didn't get a call on the last drive of the regulation. Jalen Clark, good defense there. And then he did not get any call on that incredible block by Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
That kind of more or less clinched the game for the Wolves at the end of overtime. So that was, at least there. All right, we kind of let it go. But yeah, I'm with you. And I think a lot of this is coming out of, all right, it's playoff time. Let's, on all sides, let's start priming people for what's to come here in another couple months.
All right, Keith, you put this on the
I put it on there.
Talking. Yeah. I don't know what's coming here, but we apparently have some unscheduled nonsense.
Yeah, and this is not. This will be very quick. The Daredevil TV show reviews are coming back and are like exceedingly positive from the first like 2 to 3 episodes.
Awesome.
These are critics who have like killed like Secret Invasion, some of the other TV.
Rightfully so.
100%. But it like really hammered some of the TV stuff. Necessarily did not really like Captain America Brave New World. Like these are now coming back with, they're really like, yeah, Daredevil was really good. And I know some people are like, are they going to mess it up? And there were reshoots on it and all that stuff. So, hey, at least that, we've got that there was, at least some positive stuff going on there. So I'm excited, man. And next week that comes out. So be
that's exciting.
Fired up to have that to watch, once a week as it drops, as they do that. I think they might be doing the first 2 at once. I don't know, but yeah, I'm a little excited. So I was excited to read that today, that it's getting positive reviews.
I'm adding that to my list. I have to finish Cobra Kai. I got to watch that. I'm going to add that one. Daredevil for sure. Got to check out. I have not seen Captain America yet. I was busy swimming with sea turtles and doing all that kind of stuff. Did you see it?
I did. I went on the Friday, my daughter and I, because it was All-Star. So it was like, there shouldn't be anything going on. We went to a 9:30 in the morning showing of it and went and watched it. I left and I said, it is lower tier MCU movie. Not even going to pretend it isn't. Mm-hmm. But that's still better than a lot of other stuff. I've said it over and over again. Super simple when it comes to the movies. Have some cool fights, blow some stuff up, do some crazy things, entertain me for a couple hours, and I'm good. And it did. I don't need to walk out of every movie being like, boy, that really made me think.
Right.
Like, especially not Marvel movies. Like
it was a popcorn flick.
So, Yeah, that's it.
Did,
Yeah.
did you get 9:30 in the morning? Did you get popcorn?
We did not. No, we
I
did.
can't do it either.
Yeah, yeah, I
It's too
can't do
early.
it. Yeah, it's like 11's like my cutoff for like
Yeah.
popcorn. So yeah, we didn't. We got a couple drinks and then just sat and watched the movie and then left and picked up lunch and came home and it was on Valentine's Day, so it wasn't that wasn't the best timing in the world, but it was what it was. My wife was working anyway. So I
Yeah.
took my other Valentine and we had a great time and we had fun and she came out and she's like, it was fine. Like she had fun. She was like, it was enjoyable. It thought it did a nice job of setting some stuff up. I enjoyed it. It was a little more grounded, even though there's a Red Hulk smashing Washington DC, but like it was a little more grounded in the sense of we weren't fighting aliens from all over the galaxy and stuff. So yeah, I liked it for what it was. You could definitely tell it was choppy and like they took parts out and added in storyline and different stuff, but it kind of is what it is. I think I'm going to take them at their word that was the last one of the kind of old, like before we were really resetting our strategies here and all that. So we'll see. But
okay,
it was enjoyable.
Well, I think it's interesting the loose ends that they chose to tie up.
Yeah,
like paying off stuff from 17, 20 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was a bit surprising, but I mean, hey, we've got adamantium in the MCU now, apparently. So
we got adamantium in there.
So
yeah,
there you go.
We're beyond spoiler time, 11 days after.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Yeah, I mean, there was there was a nod to like at the end the leaders in prison, and there's a nod to like there's other galaxies and stuff. And supposedly one of the things I was listening to is the Fantastic Four movie, which I think we all realized just from the trailer, it's not taking place in our like Earth, like our universe.
Right.
It's taking place in an alternate universe.
And in the past, right?
And in the past, or like their Earth just is still there or whatever.
In the 60s.
But yeah, but it's like seems like where the storyline is going is that's gonna kind of close out the multiverse. Like Galactus is gonna do something that's gonna end that universe and they're gonna land here. And there's some people wondering, were they from our Earth in their flight that gave them their powers, right? Their traditional story of how you get their powers. Is that how they landed in this version of Earth? Like what happened there? And that'll all be explained. They didn't give you a lot in the trailer, except I thought the trailer was really fun. I think Thunderbolts looks really fun. So I'm excited. And Daredevil sounded like it was good because I was worried when they were like, we did reshoots and they scrapped half the season. I was a little like, oh no, like, is this like, because I feel like that's one of those ones where if you mess it up, you're going to have a hard time winning people back to the TV side because people love that Netflix version of Daredevil. Like, you're going to
it was great.
Really make a mess of it. But yeah, I really liked it too. So yeah. So just wanted to throw that in there because I saw that today. And then if anybody likes the Andor season 2 trailer is out. So, which that was a really good Star Wars show, especially if you like your Star Wars. Like there were no lightsabers, no real monsters in there. Like it was just behind the scenes political intrigue, and I don't know. That one was really fun. I really enjoyed Andor season 1. So
there's a lot of cool stuff coming out. Then. For us to watch, in addition to the NBA playoffs, and all of that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I was telling a friend of mine today. I'm like, I have like 2-3 hours, like a week, where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fit something else in.
Right.
And it's like that'll be Daredevil, when it comes out, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, that's what the end of July, August, September are for.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, everybody.
As long as everybody's traded and we're not still waiting on trades to drag out for a third consecutive summer.
That's right. Oh, Kevin. All right, everybody. We appreciate you all for joining the show. Make sure that you do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on those notifications as well. Until next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.